We discussed the Lord, I think, starting on the journey and then sitting, taking prasadam from Chandrakan and just eating a few morsels, jumping up, asking, Jai Jagannath, Jagannath, go to Dur. And then there's another whole episodes that different things on the boat, Mukunda singing and other things, and Mahaprabhu comes to Bhubaneswar. And then after that, he comes to Nanda Manga, Bhargavi River. After Bhubaneswar, he comes to Bhargavi River, and there we were there that day. So before he comes to Bhargavi River, he goes to Bhubaneswar, and you went to Bhubaneswar. So specifically, Vrindavandas Thakur, he goes into great detail describing the glories of Bhubaneswar and how Lord Shiva came to be there and the relationship between Mahadev, Shiv and Jagannath in Jagannath Puri. So would you like to hear about those topics? Tobe Prabhu Ailin Shri Bhubaneswar Gupta Kashi Bash Jotha Koren Shankar. Vrindavandas Thakur is describing, this is Anto Lila, second chapter, text 307 of Chaitanya Bhagavat. He's describing that Mahaprabhu, Prabhu Island, Shri Bhubaneswar, and the original name, Bhubaneswar, this is the ancient name, Shri Bhubaneswar. Koren, Jota Koren Ba Shankar, and Lord Shiva is there. Mahaprabhu's come now to Bhubaneswar, and Lord Shiva is there. Lord Shiva is already present there in Bhubaneswar. Because Lord Jagannath is here in Puri, and now Mahaprabhu who is also Jagannath, but he's coming to Bhubaneswar, and so he's going to describe the whole relationship that Jagannath has with Lord Shiva. Shri Thakur is explaining this, 10 million Shiva lingas in Bhubaneswar, he says, 10 million. And it contains 8 tirthas and it's superior to Varanasi. Lord Shiva, he brought drops of water from all the holy places and he created Bindu Sarovar. And did you see Bindu Sarovar? No? You did? Some of you didn't? Yeah. It was closed. Oh. all that way, Bindu Sarovar. So Mahaprabhu, he came to Bindu Sarovar. Shiva Priya Sarovar Jani Sri Chaitanya Shnan Kori Vishesh Korila Ati Dhanna. Shiv Priya Sarovar, this Bindu Sarovar was dear to Lord Shiva. He brought all the holy rivers there. It was Shiv Priya Sarovar Jani Sri Chaitanya Shnan Kori Vishesh Korele Ati Dhanna. Mahaprabhu taking bath there, then it further enriched the auspiciousness of this Bindu Sarovar. Shnan Kori Vishesh Korele Ati Dhanna. More glorious, because it's become more glorious because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed there. We could go to that place because it's the Bindu Sarovar and the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed there. That's a special place. Yeah, you went all that way and you couldn't see. I mean, I planned to go there one time when it's open. I don't know, maybe I could see Bindu Sarovar. I can't go inside the Lingaraj temple, but Bindu Sarovar maybe, I don't know. Probably all within compound, not sure. But Mahaprabhu, he took bath there and then he went to see Shiv Linga at Sri Bhubaneswar temple, Lingaraj. And he was so happy to see the ghee lamps all in 4 directions around the Shiv Linga, which was constantly being poured Ganga Jal. We were just listening the other evening, it was fascinating about this Krishna book, the Deliverance of Lord Shiva, Krishna book. That is a treasure of Prabhupada Upadesh, that chapter, that one chapter. Deliverance of Lord Shiva. Such philosophy, such preaching material there. Amazing. Deliverance of Lord Shiva. And Prabhupada saying Lord Shiva is satisfied easily. He's satisfied just with the bilva leaf, that's Bail Pata. Bail Pata and Ganga Jal. Ganga Jal. And that's it. And you see just behind Nimai Janmastan there is Shivlinga. Just behind Nimai Janmastan. Shivlinga. Installed by Sri Shastri Thakur, and Shiv Mahadev is worshipped there. He's eternally present in the Dham. And so he's also here present in Bhubaneswar, and he's actually being situated in the protecting the. They're standing there in front of the Lord's, just to the north of the Lord's personal Dham. Lord Shiva is there, just to the north of the Lord's personal Dham. Now in Mayapur, just to the north of Nimai's Janmastan, Lord Shiva is present there. I think it's just to the north. Let me just check on that. The sun rises in the west. It's the sun sets in the west. Sets in the west, that side of Ganga, and rises in the east. Therefore, the north is where is that way? Yes. So Nimai's Janmastan is north of the Shivlinga in Mayapur. Anyway. Nimai's Janmastan is north of the Shivlinga. But in any case, they're just very close. Here is north. Now, it's important to note that in his tour in South India, Mahaprabhu visited with as much devotion the the temples of Lord Shiva as he did the temples of Lord Vishnu. Wherever there are major temples of Lord Shiva, Mahaprabhu would dance there and perform Sankirtan in the presence of his great devotee, Lord Shiva. So here in Bhubaneswar, Mahaprabhu he comes in, takes bath in the Bindu Sarpa, and he comes in and he sees the ghee lamps surrounding the Shivlinga, and the Bail Pata, Ganga Jal, it's constantly being poured on her. In Navadip Mayapur also, you can just pour, there's Ganga Jal, you can just pour on that Shivlinga. We have a place called Panihati. It was previously His Holiness Bhakti Chariswami Maharaj was supervising that development, and we were just getting the land, but anyway, he's left, but that's a very wonderful property we have there, just next to the traditional place where the Lila of Mahaprabhu and Raghunath Goswami Nityananda Prabhu, Panihati. Many Lilas there. And the property we had there's two Shivlingas just on the ghat, on the bank. And then our temple is there. So, Lord Shiva can be worshipped in conjunction with worshipping Gauranga, as we see our acharyas here. Mahaprabhu Nitya Gita Shiv Agre Koriya Anando Shay Ratri Rohira Shay Gramer Gochandra. Nitya Gita means he's dancing and he's singing. Nitya Gita Shiv Agre. Nitya Gita Shiv Agre. Yes? In front of the deity of Lord Shiva. Nitya, he's dancing and he's singing. Nitya Gita Shiv Agre. Koriya Anando. In great bliss. Shay Ratre Rohila Shay Gramer Gochandra. And he remained that night in that village, Bhubaneswar, after dancing and singing in front of the Shivlinga. Mahaprabhu remained. Then Kaviraj Goswami, Vrindavan Thakur, he goes on to describe from the Puranas, he's quoting from Puranic literature, the glories of Sri Bhubaneswar. And how Lord Shiva came to be residing there, and as such Mahaprabhu came and danced and chanted in front of his linga, where he's fully present. Right? Why is such an extraordinary temple there? Because he's there in extraordinary, his presence is extraordinary there. Just like today, I was wandering around the temple yesterday, I think not today, in the morning yesterday, just wandering around the temple, just taking a stroll. And what impressed me was that the temple, at night time we can see the darshan from the rooms in this hotel here. The temple itself is a deity. The temple itself has such spiritual power, has such spiritual presence. The flags fluttering and the gopuram and the chakra, that is so powerful that when you see it, boom, you fall on the ground. That's such a powerful presence of the Lord, that temple. That's a magnificent, to feel the presence of Lord Jagannath. He's a special deity. He's a special deity. His temple has he's a special deity, Lord Jagannath. There's so many deities of Lord Jagannath, but he's very special, because the concentration, the whole atmosphere in which he's worshipped, the whole city, and his presence in the temple. There's such developed deity worship here. And the temple is extraordinary. The temple is such. The temple itself, the architecture, its presence is so extraordinary. That in itself astonishes the mind, even of the materialistic people. The government of India, illegally, it's a secular government. It's not meant to mention about God and Lord Shiva, and these things, and Lord Jagannath. They're not mentioned to be mentioned in the government, in the laws and the constitution of India. I believe so. I believe so. However, the government people have indicated the importance of this place. So the atheists, it's important to the atheists. The atheists also are astounded. You see? The atheists, the leader, the government says these heritages special, but the lights that night is by the government. The atheists are also astounded by this temple, is it not? It astounds even the minds of the atheists. That is the temple. That is such a temple. You cannot ignore. Impossible to ignore. Such magnificence, is it not? You can't, with your eyes, you can see such magnificence. The way the presence of that temple, the flags fluttering on the roof. So a stone-hearted person, they're still, the atheists are impressed. It's not just rocks. And similarly, Bhubaneswar, the presence of Lord Shiva is very powerful there. And thus the conclusion is the presence of Lord Shiva in the holy dham of the Lord is very powerful. And we're mentioning in Mayapur, also in our Jagannath, actually this, for me, such a treasure coming and spending this week with you, because we're exploring, now we're coming to this, about Bhubaneswar. And we have in Mayapur, we have Rajapur, and Lord Shiva is there, so we can meditate on the relationship between Lord Shiva and Lord Jagannath when we're in Rajapur, because the ancient Shiva Linga is there, which we worship. So how Lord Shiva came to be in Bhubaneswar, wherein Mahaprabhu came and danced, and it describes in the Krishna book, in the Bhagavatam, that there was the Kashi Raj, he fought with Krishna. He was defeated, so he was devotee of Shiv Thakur. So he worshipped Shiv Thakur, and Shiv Thakur was pleased and gave him the boon, "I will appear." He said, "I want to defeat Krishna." "Oh, then I will support you with Pashupati Astra." And then they came in the fight, and then Krishna sends Sudarshan Chakra, and in this way destroys Kashiraj, and is chasing Lord Shiva. The chakra is chasing Lord Shiva, and eventually he understands that this is my Lord. That because he's a Vaishnava, Lord Shiva, then he knew that only my Lord could be able to upset me in this way. So begins to offer prayers. Joy, joy, Mahaprabhu, Devaki Nandan, Joy Sharba Byapi Sharba Jiber Sharon. Joy Joy, all glories to the Supreme Lord Devakinandan. Mahaprabhu, he calls him Lord Shiva, he's offering these prayers at this time when he's captured in Bhubaneswar. No, he doesn't get captured in Bhubaneswar, but wherever the fight was, I guess it was Kashi or somewhere, he'll come to Bhubaneswar. So at that place he begins to offer these prayers and he says, Jai Jai Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu, Jai Jai Mahaprabhu. And he's talking about Mahaprabhu being Krishna, the great Mahaprabhu. He says, Jai Jai. Jai Jai Mahaprabhu, Devaki Nandan. Jai Sharba Byapi Sharba Jiva Sharan, the shelter of all living entities, the Almighty Supreme Lord, Devaki Nandan. Jai Jai Aparad Bhajan Sharan. Dosha Kama Prabhu Tor Layu Sharan. Now, Tor Layu Sharan. I surrender unto your lotus feet. You forgive the offenses. Please forgive my offenses. Dosha Kama Koro Prabhu. So, hearing these prayers of Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna, the Sudarshan Chakra, it was appeased. He was praying to the Sudarshan Chakra, and the Sudarshan Chakra was appeased. And Lord Krishna appeared before him and said, what went wrong? Why did you side with Kashi king, this insignificant king, Kasiraj, against me? Why did you force me to go into battle with you? And as Krishna is speaking, Chaturdike, Shobha Kori Gopa Gopigon. Chaturdike, Shobha Kori Gopa Gopigon. Very beautiful in all directions around Krishna. He's surrounded by Gopa Gopigon, cowherd boys and cowherd girls. Kichu Krodha Hash Mukhe Bolena Bochon. Krodha Hash Mukhe. He's a little angry, but he's smiling. Bole Bochon. That, the power of my Sudarshan Chakra, it's even the weapons of Brahmastra and Pashupati and others, they're powerless before Sudarshan. And in this way, Lord Shiva, he grabbed the lotus feet of Govinda. Tobe she doriya Prabhu Shri Charan, Korite lagilo Shiv Atma Nivedon. Tobe Shiv doriya Prabhu Shri Charan, Korite lagiya Shiv Atma Nivedon. Isn't that so beautiful? A way of saying that he fell at his lotus feet and he surrendered his whole self to Mahaprabhu. In Bangla that is, Tobe she doriya Prabhu Shri Charan, Korite lagiro Shiv Atma Nivedon. Is that not beautiful language? Atma Nivedon. Atma Shiv Atma Nivedon. Korite lagiro Shiv Atma Nivedon. Tobe Sheshe Doriya Prabhu Shri Charan. And he fell and holding on to the lotus feet of the Lord, he begged Lord Shiva, begged forgiveness for going in a battle against Krishna. Or, foolishly supporting this Kasiraj. And then Krishna says to Lord Shiva, Shuno Shiv, Tomare Dilon Diboshthan Sharva Goshti Shaha Koraha Bayan. I'm giving you a divine place. Tomare Dilon Diboshthan. I'm giving you a very transcendental place. And he says, Ekam Ratrabon. Ekam Ratrabon, which is another name of Sri Bhubaneswar. Ekam Ratrabon. Ekam Ratrabon. Yeah, Ekam Ratrabon. Shtan Monoha. Ekam Ratrabon Nam Shtan Monoha. Totai Hobe Tumi Koti Lingeshwar. And that Totai Hobe Tumi Koti Lingeshwar, you'll be known as Koti Lingeshwar. You'll be worshipped as Koti Lingeshwar. in Ekamrataban, which is Bhubaneswar, where the Kotilingeshwar Mandir is called. You heard it called Kotilingeshwar? No? Lingeshwar. Or here Mahaprabhu. Or here Krishna, in the Puranas, Krishna called it Kotilingeshwar. And then he begins to describe that just to the south of Ekamrataban, where Kotilingeshwar is situated, is his own abode. And he begins to describe this, which is Shidutire, Bhattamule, Nilachal Nam, Ketra Shri Purushotam, Oti Ramyastan. That on the shore, Shidutire, just on the shore of the ocean, Shidutire. Shidutire. Isn't that beautiful? In that one word. Compared to English, on the shore of the ocean. In Bangla, Shidutire. Is that not poetic? Shidutire. Bhatta Mule, Nilachal Nam. Bhatta Mule, and the base of a banyan tree. Shidutire Bhatta Mule, Nilachal Nam, called Nilachal. Ketra Purushotam Oti Ramyastan. Ketra Purushotam Ati Ramyastan. It's such a Ramyastan. Ramyastan. Pleasing. Such a pleasing place. I was just imagining here when Haridas Thakur and Mahaprabhu was here, can you imagine what it would be like then? No horns, no motorbikes. No auto rickshaws. Nothing. No concrete roads. Just sandy paths and clay, and then a few buildings, and then Jagannath Mandir. Can you imagine? And taking bath in the sea, Mahaprabhu every day, and the same temple experience. You can understand Mahaprabhu comes, he comes running into the temple, he sees Jagannath, he falls down unconscious. You can understand it because the power, the presence of Lord Jagannath is so powerful. Ketra Purushotam Oti Ramyastan, such a pleasing place. And Mahaprabhu every day taking that, like we took Mahaprasadam today, and everyone's completely blown away. Everyone walking out, they could hardly walk. Everybody. There's such a surcharge of spiritual energy in taking that prasadam today. Everybody's speechless after that prasadam. And Mahaprabhu is taking that prasadam every day, eating nothing else. They're bringing his Mahaprabhu is sold out servant is the king of Puri. The king of Puri is mad after Mahaprabhu. You think then whatever Mahaprabhu desires in Puri is not facilitated? Mahaprabhu, even in Bengal, the government wasn't Mahaprabhu's devotees. In Puri, Mahaprabhu had done his preaching. He'd done his preaching. Talmade choy bocho gamon agamon, kobe dokin, kobe god, kobe Vrindavan. Talmade, amongst the 24 years of the second half of Mahaprabhu's life, choy bocho, 6 years, gamon agamon, coming and going, gamon agamon. Kobe dokin, sometimes South India. Kobe Gold, sometimes Bengal, a couple of times, coming going Bengal, now he's in Bengal. Kobe Vrindavan, and in Vrindavan. That's Madhya Lila. Mahaprabhu had travelled everywhere, preached to everybody. What Prabhupada includes in teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu had done. Now it comes to Puri, that's it. He's creating this Jagannath Puri, Mahaprabhu's time. It's better than the spiritual world. Right? You can feel the breezes of the sea, the coconut trees, the sand under the feet, bathing in the ocean, coming out, doing Sankirtan with Mahaprabhu, dancing. Sometimes kirtans at night on the beach, Mahaprabhu. Nocturnal kirtans on the beach. And then taking bath, coming to the temple, running out, doing puja, coming together, taking Jagannath Prasadam, doing Sankirtan on the streets around Puri. Hearing and chanting Bhagavatam with Gadadha Pandit at Shida Bakula with Haridas Thakur. So when we come to Jagannath Puri, it has such an effect on us because there's so much spiritual potency surcharged in all of these places, which are so enriched with Lila Shakti. So Vrindavan's Thakur begins quoting from the Padma Purana. Actually it's Thakur, but it's Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in the purport. He's quoting from Padma Purana about the glories of Bhubaneswar. Already here in Vrindavan's Thakur says this verse, that Shindu Tide, Bhatta Mole, Srinilachal Nam, Ketra Purushotam Oti Ramyashtan. That is the verse of Vrindavan's Thakur. See, one verse you could write a whole book on. Shindu Tide, Bhatta Mole, Nilachal Nam, Ketra Purushotam Oti Ramyashtan. Now in the purport, Srinivasa Thakur is quoting from Padma Purana about the glories of Jagannath Puri. On the shore of the saltwater ocean, in the sacred land, a city named Purushottam, or best of the Brahmins, it's more difficult to attain than even heaven. Actually, usually you hear these things before you go to the holy Dham or when you first arrive. You know, we think that's really intelligent, will prepare people, but actually, having experienced the mercy of the Dham and then hearing the glories, that's also very wonderful. So that's what we're doing now. It's more difficult to attain than heaven. Because the divine personality of Godhead is directly present in that city. It's called Purushottam by those who are expert knowers of names, or Brahmins, that rarely achieved holy district measures 10 yojanas on all sides. Krishna is talking to Lord Shiva here, I think, yes? Yeah. Or someone to a Brahmana. Yeah, Krishna's talking. I don't know, but anyway, someone's talking. So, the embodied beings who reside there are seen by demigods as having 4 arms. The embodied beings. That's in the Nectar and Devotion Prabhupada quotes in the Puranas. He said, Padma Purana. Even the food of that place that's been touched by Chandal, it may be accepted. The cook who has prepared that food is Lakshmi. That's Jagannath Prasada. The cook who has prepared that food is Lakshmi, Lakhi Devi. And the enjoyer of that food is Lord Jagannath himself. As we were taking prasadam today, I was saying these servants of Lord Jagannath, they serve you the prasad. I was thinking, oh, you cannot ask for a little more from these people. Like devotees, you say, these people, you cannot do that. It's like they, so you're just like on the line on the table and they just feed you the prasadam the way Lord Jagannath wants to distribute to you. You know, this the way it's injected. It's just done by Jagannath Shebox, and this is it. You know, and everybody is they ensure everybody you cannot eat. Everybody is completely full. You cannot take any more. You sit down, you cannot take any more. All your desires are completely fulfilled. The feeling of satisfaction is incomparable. The feeling of satisfaction after eating Jagannath, which is food fit for the demigods. The transcendental vibrations that are surcharged in that prasadam, when you eat it, that affects your mind and consciousness, it affects your heart so powerful. Because such devotion, you see these men on the street carrying the prasad. Also that day I saw they were carrying. You cannot say, take it. In ISKCON we do that. The devotees, you take it. They would beat you. I think they would beat you. It would be such a fight. They would yell and scream, you cannot take Lord Jagannath, you cannot touch Lord Jagannath Prasadam. Yeah? I'm sure these men would be. You see these guys, you cannot touch that without going through the proper chain of authority. Is it not? And these men, they're that big, you know, they will throw you on the ground. And that's just the consciousness of the people who are the carriers of the prasadam. What to speak of the people setting up the offering or making the offering, their consciousness. these people, they're very obsessed with Lord Jagannath. My perception, these people are very obsessed. Whatever they think he is, that doesn't matter, but they're very obsessed with the service of Lord Jagannath. He's the Prabhu, that's it. So Lord Jagannath, he enjoys that love, that reciprocation, so he presents himself, he's present there, and he accepts those offerings. And those pots that we get, that's what's put in front of Lord Jagannath. He's mixed with his saliva. He's honored, he's enjoyed these pots. With his eyes. But food is very difficult to obtain. For all the demigods headed by Brahma, whenever they get it, they eat it with great respect. What to speak of ordinary mortals? Today I was saying, just imagine that the executive rulers of the various nations of the world should all come together here in Jagannath Puri and sit on the leaf plate and honor Jagannath Mahaprasad and then discuss, what should be the strategy for the world. First come and show their respect to Lord Jagannath by honouring his prasadam, and then sit down and discuss their plans for climate change. Is it not? Who will write a letter? Who can arrange amongst our team? Bring these people. But could you imagine such a thing? Is that something that we should not, at least to whatever extent we can, we can bring leaders to the Juhud Mandir and get them to take the prasadam of Radha Ras Bihari before the local people make decisions about the council members and things, anyway. But for our leaders, just let's say leadership, ISKCON Leadership Sangha, let's say our Maharashtrian Sankirtan and today we did. But you'll come to Puri, you take Jagannath Mahaprasad and then sit and discuss plans for whatever. As the Ganges water purifies the entire earth, that Brahman, that food purifies all places and destroys all sins. Taking the Jagannath Prasadam and destroys all sins. He's served in this way by taking prasadam. That's the most pleasing service to Lord Jagannath, honouring his prasadam. At the time of annihilation of the unlimited universe, that place remains intact. I eternally reside at that place and I eat there every day. Yeah. By the influence of this place, all living entities who live here, even animals, insects and worms, who live within 10 yojanas, that's as far as Bhubaneswar. Shabare Dekiye Chaturbuj Dev Gone. Shabare Dekiye Chaturbuj Dev Gone. All of the dead gone, the demigods, Shabare Dekiye Chaturbuj, they see all of the worms, insects and every living being within 10 yojanas of Puri having Chaturbuj, 4 arms. Bhuvana Mongol Kori, Bhuvana Mongol Kori, Kohiye Jai Shtane, Bhuvana Mongol Kori, Kohiye Jai Shtane, and they that place is said to be the most auspicious place. Bhuvana Mongol Kori, Kohiye Jai Shtane. They called that place the purifier, or the most glorious and the most purified place within the universe and the world. Nidrateo Jaishtane Shamadhi Pol Hoy. Nidrateo Jaishtane Shamadhi Pol Hoy. If you lie down and sleep in this place, then Shaishtane, Shamadhi Pol Hoy. You get the benefits of a yogi who's in Samadhi. Shayone Pranam Pol Jota Bede Koi. Shoyon pranam pol kota bede koi. Whatever results you get from offering obeisances to the Lord, you get just by lying down here in Jagannath Puri. Prodokin pol by Kori Lane Brahman. If you wander anywhere, you get the results of doing the purikrama. Prodokin pol by Kori Lane Brahman. Kota matro kota hoy amar stubborn. Every word spoken in that place is a prayer offered to me. Kota matro kota hoy amar stubborn. So what to speak about actually glorifying the Lord in this place? If everything you say is considered a prayer, what to speak of actually praying and doing kirtan? And hearing His glories from the lips of the great poet Kaviraj Goswami, Vrindavan Thakur. And this is still Govinda describing to Lord Shiva about Jagannath Puri. Hene sheketre oti prabhav nirmal matsha koile opai habashir pol. Hene sheketre oti prabhav nirmal. Its potency of purifying things. Oti prabhav nirmal. Its potency to purify things. Hene sheketre, that place. Matsya kalayo pai habishir pol. Matsya. Matsya is fish. Krishna is saying to Govinda here. This is quoted. Anyway, Vrindavan Thakur is saying, whoever it is, I lost track of that. Yeah, Krishna to Shiva. Yeah. Hene sheketre oti prabhavinirmal matsya kalayo pai habishya pol. Even eating fish in this place, you get the results of eating habishanna. Habishanna, which you have in just the rice boiled and. So I'm giving you that place to stay. Bhukti mukti prad shay shtan monohar taha tumi kotar hoibe Shri Bhubaneshwar. And in this way Lord Shiva remains in that place and is glorified as Shri Bhubaneshwar. So then let's carry on and conclude that the final. When we were at Dandabanga Nodi, then just a short distance before that, there was a bridge. And perhaps it was pointed out to you as you were going on the bus or in the vehicle. There's a bridge, it's called Ataranala Bridge. You can see it's got the ancient stone work, that bridge. So Mahaprabhu came and he's crossing on that bridge. On that bridge one can see the chakra in the temple. So from that point on, Mahaprabhu is seeing the chakra and he's coming. And this is being described now from that point on. Deki Prabhu Bole. This is text 410 of chapter 2 of Anto Kanda chapter 2, text 410. Prabhu Bole Deko Prashade Agrumule. Hashin Amar Deki Shibal Gopale. He's saying that I see Hashi Amar Deki Shi Gopal Bale Gopal Bal Gopale. Deki Prashade Agramule Hashena Amar Deki Shri Bal Gopale. On the top of the temple, Mahaprabhu is seeing Sri Bal Gopal smiling at him. And he's repeating this verse again and again. And as he's repeating this verse, he's falling down on the road and paying his obeisances. Even Anantashesh cannot describe the way he's forcibly falling to the ground and the way he's pathetically crying out that day. So the Lord would stand there, he would look at the chakra on the top of the temple, He would chant that verse, that smiling at me is Bal Gopal, and then he'd fall down and offer obeisances. And then move to where his hands were and stand up there, and in that way, repeatedly, falling down on the ground, offering obeisances and crying out that prayer. A motto, Dandavat hoite hoite, Sarvapad Arlen Prem Prakashite. A motto, in this way, Dandavat hoite hoite, walking as if by doing dandavats, just like one dandavats and then the next dandavats. Dandavat hoite hoite. Sarvapad, the entire road, Arlen Prem Prakashite. It is a manifestation of Prem, love of God. He exhibited ecstatic love whilst offering obeisances on the road the entire way. Ihare Shebali Prem Maya Avatar. Ihare Shebali Prem Maya Avatar. And in this way he's called the Premamoy Avatar. Ihare Shebali Premamoy Avatar. Ei Shakti Chaitanya Bahi Anna Nahi Ar. Ei Shakti Chaitanya Bahi Anne Nahi Ar. Who else but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has the power to display such, reveal such manifestations of love of God? So by this time it mentions all the devotees. So the four, those who were accompanying Mahaprabhu from Bengal, they weren't there at that time because Mahaprabhu arrives at the temple without them. But it mentions here that he's surrounded by devotees. And so it must be the local people, because after all, it's not going to take long to draw their attention that this person is crying out, Jai Bal Gopal, and falling down on the road crying, and which takes a journey which usually takes an hour and a half is taking 9 hours for Mahaprabhu. So by this time such a crowd of devotees are gathering around him. Everyone's eyes were filled with tears of ecstasy seeing him. And all of the pious people who were gathered there on the side of the road, they mentioned that certainly he must be Narayan. And in this way Mahaprabhu, he made his finally he arrived in Jagannath Puri, having departed from Gaudadesh. And this being his first major journey, really, although he did go to Bangladesh and return, but as a sannyasi this is his first major strategic move as a sannyasi, is to come to Jagannath Puri, preach to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and then go on his South Indian tour. And so we've described in some detail some of the instances and some of the activities that Sri Sachinandan performed, having left Gaudadesh and was journeying to Nilachal. Jai Shukriti Jon Shune Aishab Akhyayan Taham Milayo Gauchandra Bhagwan. Jai Shukriti Jon, that fortunate person, Jai Shukriti Jon, Shune Aishab Akhyan, who hears this description. Tahare Milaye Gauchandra Bhagwan. Very quickly they will be united with Gauchandra Bhagavan. They will certainly achieve Milaya, they'll certainly achieve Gauchandra Bhagavan. Prabeshe Koyala Gauchandra Urda Deshe. Prabeshe Korila. In this way he entered. Prabeshe Korila Gauchandra Obara Deshe. He entered Orissa. Oriya Deshe. Prabeshe Koyala Gauchandra Oriya Deshe. Ihaje Shunaye Shei Bashaye Premoshe. Ihaje Shunaye. The one who hears, anyone who hears, Ihaje Shunaye, one who hears this description of Prabesh Koyala Gauchandra Oriya Deshe. Mahaprabhu entering into Oriya Deshe. Ihaje Shunaye. That person who hears it, Shei Bashaye Prem Roshe. Shei Bashaye Prem. They will swim in an ocean of devotional love. Haribol. Is there any question? Yes, Bhavamaya Nityanando.
Thank you for a wonderful description about Bhuvaneshwar. In that where Lord Shiva is addressing Lord Krishna as Mahaprabhu. Can you please enlighten us?
No, I just noticed it then actually. So what else can I say? There's no comment. It's just an interesting phenomena that he says to Krishna Mahaprabhu, and it's appearing within the pages of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. So, I have no further comment. I mean, ultimately, it's all realization of this whole realization of Vrindavan's Thakur anyway. So, whatever we hear. Other questions? So now is the yes.
Guruji, we are here since 8 days, 9 days. We are here since 8-9 days in Jagannath Puri. So our consciousness is like feeling that in the Dham. So now we will be going to Bombay tomorrow. So how we can carry that same consciousness in Mumbai also? Same, we can feel that we are in Jagannath Puri.
I know what it's like. By the time you got to your place, by the time you get through the traffic, it's already you just forgot everything. No, it remains. You have to keep coming there. You have to become attached to the Dham. And then make a plan to be able to at least spend the remaining years of your life in the Dham. I mean, is that not, what most of us should do? Unless you're like a Paramahansa and you're going to be traveling in... Well, you could be absorbed in service in the temple. That's also possible. But, develop an attachment for the Dham. I mean, the Dham is a place where... Shabane mone gone, shabendriya, shabane mone bone, and shabane bachane mone, shabendriya gone. Krishna Bhakti Bine Nahe, Shune Nahe Bhale. Sabendriya Gone, it's very easy in the Holy Dham to serve the Lord with all your senses. Just by being there, you're serving the Lord. Just by seeing the Dham. Just by touching the Dham, walking on the Dham, doing any savor in the Dham, is 1,000 more times, the Lord is 1,000 more times pleased by. So is that not something you should desire to do, to please the Lord? Otherwise, why would he not... why would he leave the Dham? So that we can actually physically have union with it. We can live in the Dham. Literally, it has an effect on you. Even you're a materialist. And look at me. Even materialists can develop some interest in Krishna consciousness as a result of the Dham. They're very powerful. Devotional service practiced in the Holy Dham. So there's not really a holiday experience for us. It's a sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti. Fortunately, living in India, I mean, I used to live in the West, people would come once a year, only to Mayapur, Vrindavan. But living in India, you can regularly visit. You can visit Vrindavan, you can visit Puri. I mean, Puri, you can come every time, have different topics. All different topics. Chaitanya Charitamrita. And go to different places. There's so much to see in Puri. We just went to a few places. Narendra Sarobar, we didn't go. Indradruma Sarobar, so many places we didn't go. So Puri, why not? Yes, and then Vrindavan, and then other places in India, and develop attachment. I mean, Mayapur, and develop attachment for the Holy Dham. That's meant to put devotees. You live in India. No reason why you can't have attachment to a Holy Dham and even have a permanent ashram, little place somewhere in a Dham, and families, devotees, grihastas can have a little place in the Holy Dham. Work for that. It's a good devotional asset for you, because you can. That way, it's an asset whereby you can serve the Lord. Serve the Lord. It's not just a material thing. Because the Lord's pleased when you reside in the Dham and do devotional service. So it's undeniable. What can we say? There's no other replacement really for actually visiting the Holy Dham. It's as simple as that. You say, how can we How can we maintain? Well, we may not be able to. That shows you how powerful it is visiting the Holy Dham. And it's incomparable. You just can't achieve that same level of advancement in spiritual life as you can as in the Holy Dham as you can in Mumbai. You know, it's a fact. I can't try and smooth it over for you and say that yeah, it's all okay, everything's fine. Go back to Mumbai, because it's a fact that it's more difficult there. But it's still easy. But how easy is it in the Holy Dham? In Mumbai, you can certainly, in devotional life, it's possible, and you can be happy in Krishna consciousness. What to speak of when you do it in the Holy Dham? You can speak of how much, how your life can become spiritualized. In the Holy Dham, so fewer obstacles for you to spiritualize your life in all aspects. So fewer obstacles, particularly in Mayapur. I don't know about here, Jagannath Puri. Living here permanently, you'd have to be quite a experienced person, I would think. But in Mayapur, it's a lot more ISKCON. Basically, ISKCON's got control of everything there. So you can take protection of ISKCON and get someplace in Mayapur. Yeah. That just goes to show you. And then anyway, we should visit Puri as much as you can. I've visited quite a few times the last 2 months. I think 3 times. Yeah. And desiring to come back again. Anything else?
Is it possible, Prabhuji, to come during Rath Yatra?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, it's possible for you. It's possible for you, if you like to. But not for me. No, I have a lifelong contract with ISKCON Kolkata, Prabhupada's Rath Yatra. They said to me, a whole life, we're expecting you in Kolkata ISKCON. So, I mean, Prabhupada said personally to Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, he said that make Kolkata Rath Yatra the biggest in the world. So you can just imagine how important Kolkata Rath Yatra was to Prabhupada. So for me, I could do much more for Prabhupada by participating in Kolkata Rath Yatra than being in Jagannath Puri. You can see, I could do. You couldn't calculate how much more I could please Prabhupada. So then that would for me, there's no question. But you could come. I mean, I can play a specific role in Kolkata Rath Yatra, but not everyone can play that role. So. But it's nice that you brought up the question of Rath Yatra here while we're still in Jagannath Puri, so I can reflect on that and pray to Lord Jagannath that. Because for 2 years we haven't had Rath Yatra in Kolkata. But I've been here at Rath Yatra time, it's nice. I mean, one time or so you can come and see, but it's very crowded and you can't really do anything except sit on a chair somewhere that on a balcony and just watch. Rath Yatra, that's it. There's so many people. You can't really go on the street. From what I didn't see ladies pulling the ropes. It was all men because it was so rough on the street. So anyone been? Anyone? Is it not? The ladies can't pull the ropes,
Even we were not doing Prabhuji. We stopped at night.
Yeah.
Next day morning everyone left. So next day morning we pulled up. But that day it's suicidal to go there.
Huh?
It's almost suicidal to go on the street.
Yeah. So, but you could probably manage it once or twice. But I mean, they have nice Rath Yatras in ISKCON, Mayapur has nice Rath Yatra there. Kolkata and where else? Mumbai, you do Rath Yatra, right? So that's it. So that should be the Rath Yatra experiences. But sometime you can come and see. Because it is rather spectacular seeing Lord Jagannath come out like a drunk man with it's really quite spectacular. It takes a whole day. The Bandhu Vijaya, it's quite, as Puri the full glory of Jagannath Puri can be seen on that day. But the glories of Jagannath Puri, how could we ever complete Such a description. You know, at every corner you see a beautiful temple. Where do you see that in cities in India? Such a Brahminical culture is still prevalent. Such a devotional culture, so much prevalent in Jagannath Puri. Any other questions? Maybe I should sing, try a little bit. Sing a little bit. Somehow it just doesn't feel right to finish without doing the kirtan. Yes. Lift that up. Krishna Chaitanya Bhavanathananda Sya Dvaita Gadam